From a chiropractor breaking bones
Halfway he goes. Oh! What about the tackle?
to a moment that almost saw two nations come to blows. These are the most brutal moments ever recorded at the Rugby World Cup. And as a bonus, one tackle cost the nation victory.
And it's direct head contact, so for me, yellow card fresh.
Starting off the list is a man better known by his nickname, the chiropractor. Brian Lima hails from the island of Samoa and was one of the stalwart players during his decades-long career. He played in 5 different World Cup competitions, but his biggest moment would come in the 2003 Rugby World Cup. Following an intense battle, the Springboks needed a victory to continue progressing, and they did manage that. Yet, one moment would change the life of a young Springbok number 10 forever. With the pressure building, Bok number 9, Joost van der Westhuizen, threw what can only be considered a hospital pass, flinging the ball up in the air. Then, as first 5 Derek Hugard went up for the catch, this happened.
Halfway he goes. Oh! What about the tackle?
Lima flattened the Bok number 10, eventually also leading to the end of his rugby career. At least, this was just a single moment, unlike the next game that had players almost swimming in the rain. In a semi-final for the ages, the Springboks had the opportunity to reach their first World Cup final on home soil. However, one problem was standing in their way, and this was none other than the French and some torrential rain.
The French defying the conditions then, and putting pressure now on.
Both teams found the weather treacherous, slipping and sliding all over the field, with massive hits that left players gasping for air.
Is in from the far side.
By sheer will and determination, the Boks managed to pull through, booking themselves a spot in the Rugby World Cup final, yet it wasn't without its injuries. Speaking of finals, there is the 2023 Rugby World Cup moment where Peter Steptoe rattled Jordie Barrett. When the Boks met the All Blacks in the 2023 Rugby World Cup, everyone expected a truly brutal match. It didn't disappoint. Despite the Springboks walking away victors, Jordie Barrett found himself marked by one of the greatest players to play the game.
Almost stole it. Quick hands here for Jordie Barrett. Over again from Brodie Retallick. Brilliant. At the front of the line out, Jordie Barrett is hit hard.
He'd go on to make a massive 28 tackles in a single game, earning him the Player of the Match award. But this wasn't the only moment of the game that absolutely shocked fans. Much earlier in the game, the All Blacks were looking much better. However, a moment of brutality destroyed their World Cup hopes.
And it's direct head contact, so for me, yellow card fresh.
Following a bad pass, Kane was caught flat-footed. When Springbok center Jesse Kriel stepped to the inside, Kane's positioning was a little too high. A straight shoulder to the face of the Springbok player would see Sam Cane receive his marching orders. The controversial decision is still debated to this day. Do you think it deserved red? Let me know in the comments below. And in sticking to World Cup finals, who can forget the moment of madness in 2007? The 2007 Rugby World Cup was one of the toughest yet. However, the quarterfinals nearly delivered a moment that saw 2 rugby nations come to blows. The French kept on coming closer as the All Blacks performed their haka, eventually having the referees intervene to keep the 2 teams apart. Much like other France-New Zealand games, this one ended in controversy as well.
Out the back, out of order keep. Damien Try. Michalak. Forward pass, the referee's missed it. Michalak gets the pass back in field.
A missed forward pass would cripple the All Blacks, unceremoniously dumping them out of the competition, with the Springboks going on to win the competition. But in 2023, Tom Curry found himself on the wrong side of the law. In a massive game between England and Los Pumas, it didn't take long for the new rules to take effect. While most expected a fairly modest game, a massive moment early in the game nearly rocked the English.
To those are your best angles.
As Juan Cruz Malia, the Argentine fullback, came down with the ball, it was immediate head-on-head contact. The referee deemed it a high tackle, sending Curry off, who would go on to get a 2-match ban for his troubles as well. Perhaps this is where World Rugby should have realized the error of their new rules. Yet, it's not only players on defense that often bring the pain. As England found out, against the All Blacks in 1995. Now, I've already talked about the torrential rain in the semifinals between France and South Africa, but that was nothing compared to what Jonah Lomu put the English through. He'd go on to score 4 tries during the game, completely destroying the English, but it was his first try that put Mike Catt into the dirt.
Again, New Zealand maintaining possession. Wide to Lomu. He's got the bounce. He's handed off his opposite. Lomu.
Lomu broke 4 tackles before simply running over the English fullback. And had it not been for Catt moving his head, he would have likely been trampled into the ground. To this day, and may his soul rest in peace, many still believe this to be the greatest game ever played by the All Black winger. Do you agree? Despite the Fijians never really being seen as a threat, their matchups with the Springboks have always proved tense. Yet, none has had such a high rate of attrition as their 2007 quarterfinal match.
So Fiji on the attack once more. Back to within a score. And away goes Norman and Gary. And suddenly this stadium has really come to life. Good pick.
Despite being far from the favorites, the Fijians continued pressing the box, even to the dying minutes, with ferocious hits and stunning wide play. South Africa narrowly survived the onslaught, but was definitely taught a very important lesson. Almost similar to the Black Ferns in the 2021 Women's Rugby World Cup final. With the Red Roses slowly becoming one of the greatest teams in women's rugby, a young squad led by Emily Scarrett found themselves facing Portia Woodman and the Black Ferns in the 2021 Women's World Cup. The game was on a knife edge until one brutal moment shifted the momentum.
Of Renee Holmes, the energy around the stadium as Lydia Thompson coming into the team today.
With the Roses up 14-0, an accidental high tackle or head-on-head contact would change the whole outcome of the match. The Roses fought valiantly to the end, but one moment of brilliance sealed it for the Ferns.
Dement, Fitzpatrick again stands the kick. This one might sit up for Stacey Fluler. Just short, Lydia crashes over.
Now, it is hard to decide whether Lydia is to blame, but perhaps having an extra player on the field could have saved the Roses on the cross defense. Then, there is perhaps the most brutal game in World Cup history. Once again, it is Samoa and South Africa on that list. But this time, it was just a regular pool game that stunned World Rugby.
Find his target. Funderlinda cleans up. The Spring.
Samoa came with a point to prove, physically dominating the Springboks at times.
Namibia, in actual fact, and of course they take their part in this Rugby World Cup again. And Samoa crash it ahead through Tuialingi.
But the Boks kept their cool, continued playing a running brand of rugby, with Brian Habana running riot.
Matfield saves the day beautifully. Here come the Springboks, Habana. The speed of Brian Habana. He cuts back in field, still going Habana. He goes himself.
They'd finally run out of victors and go on to win the Rugby World Cup. But this game is still seen as one of the most brutal ever played. Now, the Rugby World Cup doesn't always deliver the ferocious moments everyone expects, and with the new rules, more caution is often taken. Yet, vicious hits have always been a massive part of the game. And we recommend you check out this video next to find out why Tuialingi is the most dangerous player in the game.